Welcome to the Dadcast, a podcast produced with love exclusively for Jocelyn, Brandon, Gianmarco, and Valeria. This is your host, Christopher Pereira, but you can call me Daddy. Today, I want to tell you about my most embarrassing moment on television. Maybe I have shared this with you before, but I think that maybe this is one of the stories I have not shared with you. So, when I was in television news for Univision many years ago, I don't know why this happened. I still don't know why this happened. It's like a puzzle. But I know that it happened, has happened to many other people on television. And I've seen it happen to other people. It's only happened to me once and it never happened again. But it was the most embarrassing thing that ever happened to me. And this is what it was. So I used to report the news every day at 5 p.m. and at 10 p.m. So people, these days people don't watch the news anymore. They just read the news online or watch videos. But it used to be the people would just tune in. People, hardcore news watchers, like your mom. She was, still is a hardcore news watcher. Would tune in at least the 10 p.m. newscast when everybody's home. And if people made it home earlier, while they were doing cooking or doing something at home, they will listen to the 5 p.m. newscast. So people will tune in. This was a big deal. Most of a city, most of the people that watch television at 5 p.m. or 10 p.m. would watch the news. This is the way things were. And so one day I was reporting the news, and when you report the news, you got to get ready to go on there. You know what you're going to say. Typically, you're introducing a report that you have prepared, and the report is pre-recorded, but you introduce it live, and then you do a tag at the end. And I don't know what happened. And sometimes you don't do a report. If it is live news, because there was a news break, something happened, right? Somebody died, something really important, a big deal, a major fire or an accident, or anything like that, or somebody escaped out of prison, or there's a press release, whatever it was. You just go to the scene and you just talk. And something happened when I went live that day. It was at night. That I said the first few words, then we introduced the report. Yeah, it was during the time that I was going to introduce the report. For some reason, I was distracted. I don't know where my mind was. I froze. I froze on air. So the person on the news desk was saying, Christopher, so what are we going to do, or what are you going to tell us about it? Whatever the question was, I just froze. I froze. I froze. I got nervous. I don't know if it is some type of panic. I still don't know how it happens. But I froze. And so in the news desk, they acted like the signal was bad and the image froze. But it wasn't the image that froze. It was me that froze. I froze. And when that happened to me, I was so embarrassed. The people in when I went back to the station, everybody looked at me funny. And I didn't know what to make of it. And I was afraid that it would happen again because I didn't know how or why it happened. So I had the fear of it happening again. So the way that I dealt with it was by trying to be more prepared next time, even better prepared. Just be as prepared as I could be, not neglect. I tried to not neglect my preparation, and I would practice what I would say so that I would feel so rehearsed and comfortable with going live that I wouldn't freeze again. So it never happened to me again. And after that, I went on and I've done things on the radio live, and the radio is a very good experience. And now I talk to a lot of people. It's incredible to me. I've talked to very large audiences in Spanish and English, and I never thought I would be able to do this, even in English, where at one point decades ago I didn't feel I could speak so well. But now, even with my accent, I can do it. So what I learned from this is, number one, most of the time when we're afraid to speak in front of people is because we don't feel that we are prepared. the key to doing well really is to prepare. If you're ever going to do a presentation at school, Valeria, Marco, Brandon, or at work or anything like that, you're going to speak in front of people. You're always going to feel nervous, but you're going to do well if you prepare. If you prepare. The one time that I froze, now I realize because I got cocky. I was overconfident. I thought I could wing it because perhaps I had winged it a few other times before and not prepared enough. And then went live and just did okay. And I thought, oh, I'm so good, I can just wing it. But you can wing it once or twice, but eventually what will happen is that we will freeze. We will do bad because we were poorly prepared if we don't prepare. So anyway, I think that's the lesson that you can draw from that experience that I had. And also, I think that preparing is super, super important. And then the other thing is practice. The more you do it, the better you do it. And I think anybody can do a presentation or speak in an audience. Anybody. It's just really it comes down to those two things: preparation, and practice. And that wraps up this episode of the Dadcast. Tune in next time to hear from the wisdom of a man that loves you more than any other man other than God. Love you guys.